So, here we go. I want to tag Haze Outdoors.
It's me.
I'm interested in what Kevin has to say in the matter.
All right, Wade, I'm up for the challenge. I better get busy, though. So, I'm out here in -7 conditions with the purposes of cooking a steak. You might be asking yourself why. Why, Kevin, would you go out in that kind of weather to cook a steak for lunch? Well, as you saw earlier, I was tagged in a video by a fellow YouTuber, Wade, or Woodswalker 1965. But this goes back to someone about a month ago named Haze Outdoors. That's his YouTube handle. Haze is a British YouTuber and a bushcraft guy, and he initiated this. At the beginning of the month, Haze made a little YouTube video of himself cooking a steak, and as he did that, he spoke about men's mental health. So why are we talking about men's mental health? Don't women have mental health issues as well? Of course they do. About 1 person in every 10 suffers from some form of mental illness. I know people personally who struggle with mental illness, and I'm sure you do too. There's a huge stigma around men's mental illness. The numbers show it. 75% of suicides in Canada are men. That's a 3-to-1 ratio. In the United States, the ratio is 4-to-1. So there's a huge stigma around men's mental health, and people don't want to talk about it. So that's the purpose of these videos, to get out and talk about it and try and chip away and erode the stigma. What I just put in when you weren't looking is some mushrooms, some Brussels sprouts, and some red peppers. And I put a little bit of butter in there so that the mushrooms will soak that up and taste richer. I just got a small but thick grilling steak. Throw that on the grill. Let's give this a lift. It's really hot down there where the steak is, so I'm going to pull it now. Hopefully it's not too late. Probably a little bit too late. Maybe a little bit too late. I'll let it rest on the plate. We'll see. Okay. There's my steak. And there's everything else. I'm gonna tuck in. Oh yeah, I'm okay with that. When I think of men's mental health, I think of some famous people that have passed recently. Robin Williams, Tom Petty. He didn't commit suicide, but he certainly was self-medicating at the time. And Anthony Bourdain. I really loved Tony's show, Parts Unknown. On the surface, that show was about a chef traveling the world and experimenting with different cuisine. But as the seasons progressed and as the show dug deeper, it wasn't about that at all. It was about people and culture and using food as a vehicle to have challenging conversations, touching on taboo subjects. So that's what we're doing here. I think Haze was onto something. We're using food as a vehicle to have a challenging conversation about men's mental health. Getting back to Anthony, though, I was really affected by his passing because I couldn't get over the fact that this guy was on top of his game. I understand he had a young daughter and a family, and to throw it all away like that, I don't understand it. But what I really don't understand is why he didn't reach out. So Anthony Bourdain was a guy with means. He had enough money to go find treatment. He had enough friends he could reach out to. He knew people around the world, literally, and he didn't. He's a guy who spoke about his own addictions and getting off of heroin, and he couldn't bring himself to talk openly about his mental illness and seek help. That's incredible. That's a stigma for sure. Brussels sprouts. They're a winner, man. My food is really getting cold now. It's still good. So November is a great time to talk about this, Movember, but also a great time of year to talk about this, because if you live in a northern latitude like I do, the days are getting shorter and shorter as we approach the solstice, and the amount of daylight that you get can really affect you. So that's something to be aware of if you live in a northern area like I do. If people are having minor difficulties with mental illness, things like stress at work or a shorter day length can really make that mental illness more severe. And the holidays are coming up, During the holidays, family and friends are getting together. So really think about it. What better time to reach out to someone if you're struggling with mental illness? It's a myth. I did some research, and it's a myth that suicide rates go up over the holidays. In fact, it's in January, February, and into the spring when the rates go up. It's presumed that people at risk either experience a little more joy and connection during the holiday season, and so they make it through, and then they do something tragic. And it's possible that others try and just tough it out and not want to ruin other people's holidays. You're not ruining someone's holiday if you reach out and ask for help. In fact, what are the holidays for if not for taking care of each other? All right, that was a challenging subject. I've decided, because it's close to the end of November, that I'm not going to tag anyone else in particular. But if you feel like jumping in and doing this little thing, you don't have to come out in the forest and make a steak. You can make it in your kitchen if you need to. If you're not into steak and you want to have chicken or tofu, go do that. The meat's not the point. So I think that's all I have to say about the subject. The main thing is, if you're struggling, if you're having a hard time, you think you have a mental illness of any form, minor or major, you should go seek help. Go find a professional, go talk to a friend or a family member and ask for help. There's lots of resources out there. I'll put a link to the Canadian Mental Health Association below. All right, guys, I'm going to sit here and eat my somewhat warm steak and pack up and go home. So if you're new to my channel and you like this, you might want to consider checking out some of my other videos. If you do and you want to subscribe, go right ahead, but also hit that bell so that you get notifications of any upcoming videos that I have. All right, guys, thanks again.